All right, this is the I.S.U.P. So can you just lift this camera up from the, just so they can see our face from the right, yeah, just from the, yeah, a little bit, raise it up a bit more, tiny bit, raise it up just a little bit more, tiny bit more. Yeah, that should be too hard. All right, this is the I.S.U.P.K. Feast of First Fruits closing. With that, we're going to call up the first brother to stay as registry, so just come up on this side. You have to go this side, bro. So lucky the chairs, and you've got to stay this side. And then you state your registry. So, and you face this way. So you face, yeah. Mabasa, Ban Ban Yan Yan Ban Yashala. Mabasa, Ban Ban Yan Yan Ban Yashala. And then now you do the salute. And how about Shemir Shabra? Yeah, how about Shemir Shabra Kafa? And then come on up. This from the side. From this side. Come up this side. So you're going to put this in your right hand. You're going to put your left hand to your chest. You're going to stretch out the arm. And you're going to say, La Yashala.
La Yashala.
Which means to Israel. So we're going to face the east. Now we're going to do the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew and in the English. Abba Noah, Shabbat Shemayim, Kadash, Haya, Shamka, Yahweh, Malak with Kaf, Taba'ah, Ratazaka, Haya, I.S.U.P.K, Baratazah, Kawar, Haya, Bashemayim, Lefamli Noah, Lakom, Cow, Yawam, what's the lucky Noah? Kabawafi Noah, that's the lucky Noah. Wala'ah, Fabi I Noah, Banasai one, Abol, Awashai Noah, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Kamalakwa, Waha'ana, Kaba'araf, Wa'ai Amen. And in the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. In earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Amen. What we're going to do is the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Bashem, Yahavashai, Babakashah, Nafondenawa, Aka, La Pa'ah, Kal Makalah, Kal Madawa, Aka, Lataha, Hamatazarayim, Aka, La Hapiam, Mafiam, Aka, Kawaf, Hatama Allah, Lagarashan, Bashem, Yahavashai, Kawale, Amen. And in the English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahavashai, please give us the power, the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out, in the name of Yahavashai. Thank you. So be it. This is the blessings in the Hebrew. Barakah for Yahweh. Wa Yahavashai. Wa Mayaka Allah. Wa Alahayim. Matazabi Ah. Allah YAHANNA, Ha Allah Wapim, Ha Saranyam, Ha Kutazayanyam, Ha Kalayalyam, Wa Akwapim, Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Fawada, Amen. And in the English, bless you, Yahweh, and Yahushai, and Michael, and the angels, commanding General YAHANNA, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, thank you, so be it. And this is Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah, Ayanya, Alahayam, Ma'ayan, Yaba'ah, Isaiah, Ma'ay, Yahweh, Aisha, Shemayim, Ba'aratazah, Alifan, Lamawat, Regalka, Alyanawam, Shamaka, Hana, La'ah, Yanawam, Wala'ah, Yayishan, Shawama, Yasha'ala, Yahweh, Shemaka, Yahweh, Tizalka, Aliyad, Yamyaka, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'ah, Yakaka, Wayirah, Belayila, Yahweh, Yashamaka, Makalirai, Yashama, Afna Pashka, Yahweh, Yashama, Kaza'apa, Wabawa'aka, Ma'aifa, I will I will lift up my eyes into the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. So be it. This is Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayam, Al-Damayah, Laka, Al-Fakarash, Wa'al, Fashakwat, Al-Yahanna, Awayabika, Yahama, Yawan, Ra'ash, Al-Aimaka, Ya'ira Yamba, Sawada, Wayafa, Ya'aitazawo, Al-Tazapawanika, Amawa, Lakawa, Wanakakadam, Magaya, Wala'ah, Yazaka, Shamya Sha'ala, Iwada, Kaya, Aitazawo, Laba, Yaka Adwa, Al Yaka, Ba Yaf, Yaka Rafwa, Al Halya, Adawam, Wa Yashamai, Alayam, Mawa Abba, Wahagayam, Abo, Wa Aimawan, Wa Aimalak, Kalashaf, Aimishabya, Tazawo, Gam Ashawo, Nalawa, Aimam, Ayawo, Zarawai, Labanya Lawat, Salah, Aisha, Laham, Kamadyan, Hasaya, Sara'ah, Kayabyan, Manakal, Kwayashwan, Nashamadwa, Ba'ayan, Da'ara, Kayawa, Daman, Ladama, Shayafamwa, Nada, Yabmawa, Ka'irab, Wakaza'aba, Wakazabak, Wakatazal, Manai, Kal, Nasa Yakamwa, Asha, Amawa, Nairasha, Lanawa, Af, Na'awaf, Alahayam, Alahaya, Shayafamwa, Kagalgala, Kakwash, Lapanyaraka, Ka'ash, Faba'ira, Ya'ira, Wakalahaba, Falahat, Habarayam, Kanfar Datma, Basa Irika, Wabasa, Lupafka, Kabahalam, Mala, Panyaham, Palawan, Wayabakwashwa, Shamka, Yahawa, Yabashwa, Waya, Bahalwa, Aid, Waya, Kapawa, Waya, Abadwa, Waya, Yaiwa, Kaya Afa, Shamka, Yahawa, Labadka, Al Yawan, Al Kaharataza. And in the English, keep not thy silence, O Yahweh, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh, for lo, Thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted together against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes, Gabal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre, Ashur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Salah, do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, at the brook of Kisan, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Areb and like Zayeb. Yea, all their princes as Zabah and as Zalmanah, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of Yahweh in possession. O my power, make them like a wheel, as a stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth for wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name. O Yahweh, let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the Most High over all the earth. Only the cases. Blessed be Yahweh, King of heaven and earth, and all things living. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua, listen to us now, right now. Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction to the heathen that speak against us, thy prophets, the teachers, the princes, the priests, the Israelite brothers, and the school. Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction to the heathen, and shake loose the treasure of the rich of Israel that refuse to give to the school. Force their riches to enter into thy sanctuary. Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction to the Edomites and the nations and their drug dealers, the court system, the prison system, Planned Parenthood, all the governments of our enemies, Amalek synagogues and armies, Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, Islam, Christianity, Egyptology, militia, Ku Klux Klan, Aryan nations, skinheads, Kamatazi, the gay movement, the lesbian movement, spies, workers of witchcraft, NASA space program, army, navy, Marines, Wall Street, open up the internet, and the airways, the cable access channels, and the radio channels. Convict the spirit of any of thy people that seek to stop us, and bring swift destruction to all the heathen that stand in the way or try to stop us from broadcasting your words throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the plagues, cause them to go to and fro through the earth, and consume them. Let the plagues shake the house of the thief and the murderer. Let Yahushua, Michael, and Gabriel come down with the flying saucers and punish all the heathen that come up against us, and to speak thy word, cause it to be known by all that is the angels that have done it, cause it to be spread through the media throughout the whole world, cause them to shake at thy coming, in the name of Yahushua. Thank you, always, so be it. Alright, so as you know, it's our customs and it's a feast day, so we read out of Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. So we do 7 verses in the Hebrew and 7 verses in the English. Give me 1 second, let me just get that up. All right, so we're going to read Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 1. Wayadaba Yahweh al Masha La'amar, verse 2. The bar al Banya Yasha Allah wa Amaraf Alahayam ma idea Yahweh Asha Fakara Ra'ah Afam Makwaya Qudash al Ham ma idea, verse 3. Sheshaf Yamayam for Aisha Malakah Waba Yawam Hashaba Bayaya Shabaf Shabafan Makura Qudash Kala Malakah La'a for Aishawa Shabaf Hawa La Yahweh Bakal Mawa Shabaf Fam Yakum, verse 4. Allah ma I Daya Yahweh Makuraya Qudash Asha Fakar Ra'ah Afam Bamawa Idam, verse 5. Bakadash Harashawan Ba'ara Aisha Lakadash Bayan Ha'ira Bayam Pasak La Yahweh, verse 6. Bak Masha Aisha Yawam Lakadash Hazahar Kaga Hama Tazawaf La Yahweh Shabaifa Yamayam Matazawaf for Kala, verse 7. Bayawam Harashayan Makara Qudash Yahweh Lakam Kala Melakaf Ibada La'ah for Aishawa. And now we're going to have the brother read Leviticus chapter 23 and 1 in the English. Yeah, so Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 1. Now there you go. So there.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of the Lord.
So now I said, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of the Lord, because now the white man's celebrating his holiday today, which is Father's Day, man. That ain't the feast of the Lord. Father's Day is nothing to do with the Lord. Mother's Day is nothing to do with the Lord. As you know, Mother's Day was based off them celebrating, the Catholics celebrating Mary. Then Father's Day after that, they said, you know what? Let's celebrate Mary's husband, Joseph. And then they set up Father's Day, the Catholic Church. So that's what Mother's Day and Father's Day is about. First, it started off with them celebrating one woman, Mary, then celebrating Joseph. Then over time, it turned into you celebrating your mother on that day. Then it turned into you celebrating your father on that day. Whereas Father's Day, first when they set it up, it was laughed at because they said men are supposed to be macho. What do men need a day for? And then now, all these men have become soft, celebrating it, thinking, oh yeah, I'm appreciated this one day a year. My kids buy me presents. Meanwhile, this is a day where black men get disrespected and whatnot. Father's Day ain't of the Lord, man. Obviously, your kids should respect you every single day. They shouldn't just make you breakfast on Father's Day, making you breakfast and so forth, and posting your picture and whatnot. They're supposed to love you every day of the year, man. Obviously, supposed to love your mother every day of the year. All our precious holidays is garbage, and his feast days is garbage. So the Lord's saying here, you have your own feast days. So we're going to read what our feast days are, what every black and Hispanic should be following. We should be following our own culture, our own customs. But because we've been slaves for so long, we follow everybody else's culture and everybody else's customs. I mean, us as black people, we ain't Catholics, but we want to celebrate Catholic holidays. It doesn't make no sense. Like, it don't make no sense. You got black people want to celebrate things like Kwanzaa, and then they want to celebrate Mother's Day. Like, what do you believe in, man? Pick one. They're trying to celebrate everything, man. You just pick one thing, man, if that's the case. Read on.
Which ye shall proclaim to be a holy convocation, even these are my feast.
And the Lord's telling you which are his feasts. So whatever's not written in here ain't a feast of the Lord, man. Now there's some which ain't written here. Why? Because they're memorials. So Purim, dedication, those is memorials. Those is memorials when our enemies got destroyed, and we celebrate those, man. We're about to get some new memorials in the kingdom once we freed from the hands of this oppressor that rules over us, man. There's about to be a few more memorials which the Lord is going to allow us to celebrate. Read on.
6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest.
So you'd work for 6 days, and then on the 7th is the Sabbath of rest. Meaning, obviously, this doesn't mean you have to sit in the dark. This doesn't mean you can't turn the light on. This doesn't mean you can't watch TV. This was talking about your occupation, man. Like when you look at your work, your slavery, what does it say? It says that your rest day, it says that it's considered a rest day, your day off, man. That's why the Lord called it rest. Why? Because it is your rest day. Read on.
And all convocation, ye shall do no work there.
You shall do what?
Do no work therein.
There you go, man. Read on.
It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwelling. These are the feasts of the Lord, even all the convocation which ye shall proclaim in their seasons.
So you have to celebrate these at the right times, man, in their seasons. You have to celebrate these at the right time in their seasons, man. You can't just be celebrating these in any day of the week, any day of the year. You have to celebrate them in their seasons, man. And how do you know the seasons? You have to come to the I.S.U.P.K. And we got brothers that will give you the whole feast day dates, man. You'll get the dates, and that's the seasons. You can't just be making it up by yourself, saying, oh, yeah, well, I think it's this day. No one cares what you think, man. What you think is wrong. If it don't come from the I.S.U.P.K, it's wrong, man. You celebrating anything which doesn't come from the I.S.U.P.K is wrong, man. Read on.
In the 14th day of the first month, at evening is the Lord's Passover.
So the Lord's Passover was what? At evening, man. Read on. The 14th day of the first month.
And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread.
And then after that, you would have what? A feast of unleavened bread. Because when we left Egypt, you couldn't eat leaven, man. Obviously, you didn't get to make your bread properly. You didn't get to put your raisin agent in that makes your bread rise, that makes your bread all nice and whatnot. So you just made your bread without the raisin agents and the yeast in, because you had to leave Egypt in a hurry. So we do that as a memorial, man. As the Lord told us to do it, we do that. Why? Because we're remembering what our brothers and sisters did when they had to leave out Egypt. They didn't get to make their bread properly. So we eat unleavened bread for 7 days, man. Meaning what? Obviously, you have your unleavened bread where you don't put no yeast and no raisin agents. You can't eat nothing with yeast or raisin agents in. And by you doing that, you show, you know what? That you actually serve the Lord. Whereas when's the last time you've heard of them in the church doing the Feast of Unleavened Bread, man? They don't do it. They couldn't even do it for 1 day, let alone 7, man. Why? Because they do whatever the hell they want. Whereas in here, you actually serve the Lord and do what the Lord tells you to do, man. Read on.
Bread unto the Lord. The 7th day he must eat unleavened bread. In the first day he shall have an holy convocation.
A convocation is when you come together, man. When you come together and you gather, man. It says you shall have a holy convocation, meaning we're supposed to come together, man. Which means what? This right here, this right here doesn't say be a solo Israelite, man. Right. This right here doesn't say no, you just sit at home and keep it at home and do your own thing. It doesn't say that. It says you shall gather and have a holy convocation. Show me where it says you sit at home and do it. Does it say in that verse anyway?
No.
It don't say you sit at home and do it, man. It says ye shall. What did it say?
And ye shall have an holy convocation.
Meaning you come together, man. You don't sit at home thinking you're some solo Israelite on the internet saying I can do this all by myself at home. I kept the Passover at home by myself. Listen, man, the Bible don't say that, man. So you shall have a holy convocation. Go ahead.
What's funny is what's funny is when they're alone, they always having a menorah like that with all the candles are like just so corny. Like come on, man. You know what I mean? You don't have to do it by yourself. In here, we make the food, man. In here, it's all here. All you gotta do is show up, man. And instead, you'd rather do it by yourself, and you're doing it wrong, man.
Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord 7 days.
Then obviously you'd offer an offering, but why we don't do that no more? Why? Because Christ did what? Christ came and died for us and whatnot. When people read Christ died for us, they think, okay, that means I can eat pork and whatnot. But by you serving Christ and following Christ shows that if you was around at this time, you would offer up your animals, man. Shows that you would offer up your lambs and your goats and whatnot. A man that ain't here shows that back then he wouldn't be offering up nothing, man. He wouldn't be giving up sacrifices. Whereas you being here, you show that you would give up sacrifices, man. Read on.
In the 7th day is an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye be come into the land which I give unto you.
So this is when we left Egypt and we was in the wilderness. So the Lord's letting them know, all right, then when you go into the land. So we had to stay in the wilderness for a time, longer than we were supposed to. Why? Because we was so indoctrinated with what we learned in Egypt, man. We kept reverting back to what we learned in Egypt. The Lord told us no idols. We made a golden calf. The Lord told us don't do this. We went and done it. So what? That whole generation had to do what? Die in the wilderness, man. And then we had to start fresh with a next generation, man. Because why? We were so far gone that we wasn't going to listen to the Lord. So the Lord said, all right, then you can just die in the wilderness and I'll bring your children into the land. Whereas you are just going to die here. Why? Because we were stuck in what we learned in Egypt, man. Everything we learned in Egypt, we wanted to hold on to it. And we kept trying to do it and whatnot, trying to do what we learned in Egypt, worshiping idols and so forth. Because we were so indoctrinated, have to being there for so much years. Read on.
And shall reap the harvest thereof. Then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruit of your harvest unto the priest.
And then you do what? Bring a sheaf of your first fruits to the priest, man. Now, sometimes in the Bible it will say you give it to the Lord. Now, when you give it to the Lord, you give it to the priest. That's what it means, man. Because the Lord obviously doesn't eat them animals that you bring, man. You give it to the priest, and that's their meal. Why? Because they didn't get no inheritance amongst the children of Israel. While Moses was breaking up the land, saying this plot's for Manasseh, this plot's for Benjamin, Levi didn't get no inheritance. Because why? The Levites, there was the priests, so they was just scattered throughout everybody else's land. So then, in order for them to survive, it was your job to take care of the priest, man. And this is why in here you're supposed to take care of the priest, man. Your tithes, your donations, and whatever, man. All of those kind of things. Because why? What we're doing here is biblical, man. We, the priests of old, man. Read on.
And ye shall wave the sheaf offering, the sheaf before the Lord, to be accepted for you. On the morrows after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it. And ye shall offer that day when ye wave the sheaf, and ye lamb without blemish.
So you would offer a he lamb without blemish, meaning what? You would offer a lamb which ain't got no broken bones, no broken legs, no marks. You would offer one of your best lambs, man. And that's the point of you giving up a sacrifice. Because if it didn't mean nothing to you, it wouldn't be a sacrifice, man. Like, if you don't care about something, then it's not a sacrifice. It's only a sacrifice when you care about it, man. Now, if it's something you didn't care about, like, say if it was just listen, if it, like, say for instance, if you give anything to the Lord and it's something that you love, it's a sacrifice to you because you love it, man. If it's just something that you don't care about, that's been sitting in the attic for 10 years, it's not a sacrifice because you don't really care about it, but a sacrifice is you giving up something that you actually love. Read on.
And ye lamb without blemish of the first year for a burnt offering, fearing unto the Lord.
So you'd offer a burnt offering unto the Lord, man. A burnt offering is like what? A barbecue, man. Read on.
And the meat offering thereof shall be 2/10 deal of fine flour.
And you'd offer another offering, man, which this is what? Fried chicken right here, man. Read on. And it says with fine flour mingled with oil, man. And if you know anything about fried chicken, man, you have to coat it with flour, man. You make your seasonings. So lucky for anyone that knows how to cook and whatnot. You make your seasonings. You season your chicken, then you do what? You dip your chicken in the flour, man. You can double dip it in the flour, and then you do what? Get your oil ready, the right temperature. Then you fry your chicken, man. That's in the Bible.
An offering made by fire unto the Lord for a sweet savor, and the drink offering.
You would offer a drink offering, man, and you would offer a drink offering of wine, man, which would be measured in something called a hin, which was how you measured liquids back then. Go ahead.
Thereof shall be of wine the fourth part of an hin. And ye shall eat neither bread nor parched corn nor green hairs unto the self same day that ye have brought an offering unto your God.
Parched corn is what? Roasted corn, right? Parched corn is corn which is roasted. Yeah. So it says back then you couldn't eat parched corn nor green ears until the self same day that you brought offering But obviously that don't apply no more. Why? Because you don't bring your offerings like that no more. So obviously that don't apply. Go ahead.
It shall be a statute forever throughout your generation in all your
So
dwelling.
you'll do these things in all your dwellings. Now, people think it says forever, so why don't we still do it now? But once you understand what following Christ is, Christ, all these sacrifices still apply, but you do it a different way by serving Christ, keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. That's how you do what now? You sacrifice your life, man. Back then you would sacrifice a sheep and a lamb. Now you sacrifice your life for this truth, man. And you get up in here. That's what you do now. You better do that forever, man, throughout all your generations and through all your dwellings. Read on.
And he shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that he brought the sheaf of the wave of offering, 7 Sabbath.
So you
shall
count
be
7
completed.
Sabbaths. 7 Sabbaths shall be complete. Read on.
Even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath shall he number 50 days.
So your number 50 days. Go ahead.
And he shall offer a new meat offering unto the Lord.
And this feast, the first fruits, in the New Testament, it calls it the feast of Pentecost, because the word penti means 50, and that's what it mentioned, 50 days, just in the verse that we just read. Go ahead.
He shall bring out of your habitation two waves leaves. What? Wave, W-A-V.
Yeah,
two wave loaves, sorry, of 2 tenth deal. They shall be of fine flour. They shall be baken with leavens. They are the first fruit unto the
So
Lord.
you'll do those things. Go ahead.
And he shall offer with the bread 7 lambs.
So you'd make bread. These were the first fruits. You'd make this bread. And then it says, and ye shall offer with the bread 7 lambs without blemish. Go ahead.
Without blemish of the first year, and 1 young.
And you'd offer these of your first year. So these lambs was of the first year. Go ahead.
And 2 rams. They shall be.
Like you couldn't offer something that was old and ready to die and whatnot. The Lord wanted something fresh, man, of the first year. Go ahead.
They shall be for a burnt offering unto the Lord.
And this would be considered a sacrifice. Why? Because these 7 lambs would mean a lot to you, man. So if you love the Lord, you would offer up them 7 lambs to be a burnt offering. Whereas a man that don't love the Lord, he'll be like, I don't want to give them up because, you know, these priests are just going to burn them and I could keep them and make some money off them. Whereas what they're going to do with them is none of your business, man. Your business is you just offer up them 7 lambs. It's none of your business what they're going to do with them 7 lambs, man. Sometimes mind your business and just do what you're told to do, man. Offer up the 7 lambs and that's it. You don't need to worry where they go, man. You don't need to worry about what the priest is going to do with these lambs, where these lambs are going to go. Oh, they're just going to use them as a burnt offering when I want to keep these lambs so I can keep reproducing them. Don't worry about none of that, man. You just worry about, I've handed them my 7 lambs of the first year and I've done what the Lord told me to do. Once you start looking too much into it and trying to justify why you don't think you should give these lambs up because it's not a good idea, before you know it, you end up breaking all the laws, man. Because in your mind, you always find a way which seems good to you why you don't have to do something. Oh, I don't think I need to go. I don't think I need to be in the I.S.U.P.K because I can do this by myself. I don't think I need to do this because I can do this by myself. Nah, man. You better follow all the protocols, man. Read on.
With their meat offering and their drink offering, even as an offering made by fire of sweet savor unto the Lord.
Good.
Then ye shall sacrifice 1 kid of the goat for a sin offering, and 2 lambs.
And you would offer 1 for a sin offering and 2 lambs. And guess what? Old Testament Israelites who don't believe in the New Testament, they don't even do this, man. If they believed in the Old Testament, they would be sacrificing goats and so forth. They don't do that. You don't ever see them sacrificing goats, man. Read on.
Of the first year for a sacrifice of peace offering, and the priest shall wave them with the bread of the first fruit for a wave offering before the Lord. With the 2 lambs, they shall be holy to the Lord for the priest. Yep. And he shall proclaim unto himself until the same day, that it may be an holy convocation unto you. He shall do no servile work.
There you go. And it says no servile work again. Go ahead.
It shall be a statute forever in all your dwelling.
And now, obviously, we have to wear it. Why? Because we're ruled over by our oppressor, man, that doesn't know how to give people a day off, that doesn't know how to respect you to allow you to keep the Sabbath day, man. This man forces you to work. You go there to the interview and say, I can work every day, but I just need my Saturdays off. And what does this man do? This man doesn't give you the job, man. Because he thinks Saturday is his busiest business day. And he's trying to make all the money in the world off you, man. So he forces you to work. Imagine you go there and he asks, what days can't you work? You say, oh, the Saturday is religious. And he don't give you it off, man. Why? Because he's the devil, man.
Throughout all your generation, and when ye reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not make clean riddance of the corners.
And now you feel now what you would do is when you had a field and you would go get your fruits and whatnot, you couldn't clean it completely out. Like you couldn't take every last drop. You couldn't pick up every grape that dropped on the floor, man. Like you're not supposed to take the gleanings and everything. Why? Because this is brotherhood. The Lord wants the poor to survive, man. So the Lord said, leave some for the poor. You've got enough for yourself and, you know, for your business or whatever it's for. And then you leave the rest for the poor who can't afford it, man. So they would come and a poor man in our nation should know, you know what? I'm poor, but I'm not too sure. I believe so. You just put them there now. But a poor man in our nation should know that, you know what, I'm poor, but because of brotherhood, I'm definitely going to eat tonight, man. I'm poor, but I know my family's going to eat tonight. They should know, you know what, I don't need to rob anybody because, you know, there's enough gleanings for me to go and get because of this brotherhood. Whereas now, being black or Hispanic, you're uncertain if you're going to eat, man. You're uncertain if you're going to get to eat. Why? Because there's a lack of brotherhood now. Read on.
When thou reapest, neither shalt thou gather any gleaning of thy harvest, thou shalt leave them unto the poor.
And that's brotherhood, man. Leave them to the poor. You leave them for the poor, man. That's brotherhood. That way, a poor man doesn't need to, is stressed already, but he doesn't need to overstress. Oh, where am I going to get food from tonight? How am I going to survive? How am I going to feed my children? Why? Because he knows his brothers who's doing good, got a bit of money. They've left him some food somewhere, man. So he don't need to starve. Read on.
Unto the strangers, I am the Lord your God. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the seventh month, in the first day of the month, shall he have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets.
And then you would have a memorial, a blowing of trumpets, man. Go ahead.
A holy convocation.
A holy convocation where you don't do it from home with your little trumpet. That little trumpet that's about this big, you blowing it at home. That's not you coming to a holy convocation, man. You're supposed to be here. Read on.
It shall do no servile work therein.
There you go. Read on.
But he shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
Read on.
And he shall speak, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, also on the 10th day of this month, on the 10th day of the 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement.
And the day of atonement is what? A day where you don't have no food, no drink, you don't consume nothing, man. And yes, you're allowed to brush your teeth and wash your face and whatnot, because some people think you can't brush your teeth and you have to afflict yourself and harm yourself and so forth and put on the roughest clothes. You don't have to do that, man. On the day of atonement, you can do anything you want but eat and drink, man. That's it. But people like to complicate it and think, you know what? I'm showing the Lord I'm really doing atonement by sitting in the dark all day. Listen, man, you don't get no brownie points, man, for sitting in the dark all day. The Lord just wants you to not eat and to not drink and to afflict your soul, man. By you brutalizing yourself and sitting down on the couch in the dark, thinking, you know what, the Lord sees this and I'm going to be rewarded. You know, you can sit in the dark if you want, but just understand you're not going to get no brownie points for it, man. That's right. The Lord just requires you no food, no drink. Like, you don't need to overcomplicate it. You don't need to make it extra difficult. You don't need to make it like you're better than others because you sat in the dark and so forth. You don't need to do all that. Read on.
It shall be an holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your soul, offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. And he shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement.
And it's a day of atonement, man. And get that day off work, man. Book it off. Why? Because you don't want to be at work hungry and everyone's eating and so forth, man. Just book it off and just stay at home. And also, we're gonna do the feast of the Day of Atonement in the school, man. We're gonna do it right here. Read on. It lands on a Wednesday this year. I'll give you the date afterwards once double check the calendar. Read on.
To make an atonement for you before the Lord your God. For whatsoever soul is to be shall not be afflicted. In the same day he shall be cut off.
Back then you would be cut off, man. And this is how you would become a Gentile. So in the New Testament, when you read about the Gentiles, it was niggas like this that didn't keep the Day of Atonement, man. They was cut off. And then them coming back in the New Testament was Paul and the priests and prophets going out to them saying, yo, you can come back, man. These is ones that was cut off from this time that had children, who also was cut off, who also wasn't circumcised. And then they had the good news that what? The kingdom of heaven's at hand and you can be a part of it, man. Because there was one time when you was cut off, you wasn't coming back, man. You would just go live amongst yourself. Whereas now, they got the good news that they could come back. The people who is the Gentiles in the New Testament, based on the context, is Israelites that was cut off right here, man, for not keeping the feast days, for not being circumcised on the 8th day. You was cut off for them things. And the good news is Christ came, which gave you a chance to come back, man. And this is why you get Gentiles in the New Testament who are Israelites, man. It wasn't talking about no next nation. It was talking about brothers who was cut off, man. Why? Because they didn't keep all days of atonement. Like if it wasn't for Christ, we would be cut off. Because why? We didn't keep every day of atonement. We didn't keep every Passover and so forth. So the Gentiles it's talking about in the New Testament is brothers like us, man. We was once Gentiles because we was cut off until we found out, okay, we can come back. Even though we live so far away from Jerusalem in England, man, we could come back, man. We would be considered them Gentiles. Look how far we are from Jerusalem, man. And we're allowed to come back. That's what he's talking about in the New Testament. Read on.
From among his people.
He was cut off from what?
Among his people.
So the Gentiles was brothers who was cut off from among his people. Read on.
And whatsoever soul it be that doeth any work in that same day, the same soul will be destroyed from among his people.
Now listen, man. Back then, the Lord said, whoever does work in that day, that soul will destroy from among his people. But now, the Lord said what? He'll wink at our ignorance, man. That don't mean he winks at it forever, for a time, man. And then there's a time when you have to get right. And then if you don't get right, obviously the Lord will come and destroy you, man. Right. By being in here, you've seen tons of people who should have been in this room and they don't listen. And you've seen them be destroyed, man. Why? Because the Lord winked at their ignorance for a time. And then enough became enough. And this is why so much people we went to school with, most of them is dead now, man. Right. And you've seen it, man. People that you went to school with, most of them is dead now. Why? Because the Lord winked at their ignorance for a time, man. And he ain't going to wink at your ignorance forever. Read on.
He shall do no manner of work. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generation. In all your dwelling, it shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest.
It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest. And we went over that already. Read on.
And he shall afflict your soul in the 9th day of the month.
So you would afflict your soul in the 9th day of the month, meaning once the sun goes down, man.
At even for even.
Obviously, with that, that's another Sabbath. So what we will do on that day is we'll be in the school and we'll read Leviticus the 23rd chapter. The only difference between that day and now is obviously just won't be no food. Why? Because it's a feast of no food and no drink. Read on.
Even from even unto even, he shall.
And you'll do it from evening unto evening, sundown to sundown. That's how you do it, man. You don't do it like the Muslims. You fast from 3 in the morning till 9 p.m. What kind of fast is that, man? That ain't no evening till evening. They do like what 16 hours maximum. They do like what 8 hours less than they're supposed to. They don't do a full fast, but they're always crying about it on the job. I'm fasting, bro. I'm fasting, bro. Listen, man. It's not even a proper fast, man. Read on.
Shall he celebrate your Sabbath? And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, the 15th day of this 7th month shall be the feast of tabernacles.
And then that shall be the feast of tabernacles. Read on, which we got coming up also.
For 7 days unto the Lord. On the first day shall be a holy convocation.
The first day shall be a holy convocation, man.
Shall be no survivor therein.
Oh yeah, and you don't need to sleep in tents. Also, just let you know, because Some people are misinformed and think you have to sleep in a tent and be uncomfortable for 8 days. Read on.
7th day ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. Unto the 8th day ye be an holy convocation.
And now there's a holy convocation on the first day of it, and the last day of it, meaning what? There's a feast at the start and at the end of it. So we're going to keep the feast at the start at the school. We're going to keep the feast at the end of it at the school also. Read on.
And ye shall offer an offering burn made by fire unto the Lord. It is a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no servile work therein. These are the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocation, to offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord, a burnt offering and a meat offering, a sacrifice and a drink offering, everything upon his days.
And you'll offer everything upon its day. Read on.
Beside the Sabbath of the Lord, and beside your gift, and beside all your vows, and beside all your free will offering which ye give unto the
And
Lord.
obviously, you could give what free will offerings, meaning, say for instance, nowadays a free will offering would be, if you've got something and you think, you know what, I could help the school out with that, you can give it, man. Say for instance, you've got a laptop, a phone, a microphone, or whatever, anything that you can help the school with. You can be like, you know what? Let me give that to them brothers, man. They're gonna make use of it, man. Some brothers think they got a rap career, man. Just give us the microphones, man. You ain't going nowhere with that rap career, man. Just give us the microphones as a free will offering, man. Read on.
Also in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered on all your fruits of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days. On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and unto the 8th day shall be a Sabbath. And ye shall take you unto the first day the bought of godly trees, branches of palm trees, and the bough of thick trees, and willows of the brook. Ye shall rejoice before the Lord your God 7 days.
Rejoice before the Lord 7 days.
And ye shall keep it a feast unto the Lord 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever in your generation. Ye shall celebrate in it the 7th month. Ye shall dwell in both 7 days.
And back then you'd dwell in booths 7 days. Why? This is when we came out of Egypt. So you would take all them branches and you would make like a tent with the branches and so forth. You'd make a booth with the branches and whatnot. It's not like one of them ones you would get today from August, which you just set them up. This, you had to be skilled. You'd have to make it with branches and so forth, man. You'd have to know what you was doing, which lets you know the men back then was skilled, man. Because, you try making a booth with branches today, man. Just try it. It sounds like a difficult task, man. Make sure all the branches is right. Make sure the measurements is right make sure you and your family and so forth can fit in there. It ain't as easy as it sounds, man. Just try it if you want. Read on.
All that are Israelite born shall dwell in booths.
All that Israelite born shall dwell in booths, man. Meaning if you're black, Hispanic, or Native American Indian, will dwell in booths, man. Go ahead.
That your generation may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths.
And you'll do that. Why? To let the children know what the Lord caused us to dwell in booths when we left Egypt. Why? Because we was constantly moving around. We was in the wilderness, walking around for 40 years, man. Just imagine. It sounds easy, but you got all the old with you. You got the old, the young, the hungry, the thirsty. You have to slow down for some. You have to and so forth. And we're all together. You got people there that would be old, sick, and whatnot. And we're all wandering around the wilderness for 40 years. So every so often, you'd have to pitch your tent and just stay there for the night and then keep it moving again the next day and so forth. Like, you read it and think it sounds easy, but it must have been rough walking around the wilderness in the hot desert with your grandparents, your great grandparents. And just remember, in the wilderness, it wasn't just only fit men who can do all sorts of things. You had women and children and the elderly and so forth. Read on.
When I brought them out of the land of Egypt, I am the Lord your God. And Moses declared unto the children of Israel the feast of the Lord.
And Moses declared unto the children of Israel the feast of the Lord, man. And that brings us to the end of the chapter. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the scroll and have all the men salute the Torah. So I'm going to send Mousa with the scroll, and we're going to have all the men salute the Torah. Is everybody gone? All right, then you just go. Captain Rush to go. No. It's because the mic wasn't right.
Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Yah.
And with that, we're going to give. Actually, No, not on that one. About what's it called? Oh, full case to see. Might need the microphone as well. Yeah, you can keep it up here. One second, let me build the horn. There you go. One courtesy salute to the teacher. Men of Israel, stand up. Yajamata. Amajam. Amajam Shabbat. Amajam. Barak. Yahweh Shem Yashai Brakafam. Yahweh Shem Yashai Brakafam. Yajamata. Class dismissed.